going to take me there. Granted, you have to demonstrate you have an aptitude and ability to learn, but that I should not have some guidance counsellor. Is this? Yes.
Send you a password reset link that we need to proceed with the landing page.
Okay. I will forward that to you just now. Just when we get the good stuff. It's like work. You know, I was a kind of crappy student, like really crappy student. And certain things didn't compute, like certain things didn't, like math was a struggle but it's only in retrospect that I realised why I struggled with maths, and it was, nobody's really explaining the purpose of it. Here's an integral, equation, here's calculus, here's this. It's like, you just need to do this because you need to get to this number. But the older I've gotten, the more I understand myself is I have to understand the purpose. Why am I doing this? What am I doing it for? Because if I'm not interested or I don't find value in it, I'm probably going to struggle with it. And I think that's true to a lot of people. They want to spend their time doing something that's meaningful to them. Now granted, that doesn't mean you get to be like a lazy ass the whole time, but you've got this prescriptive system that says you're not smart if you can't pass my test. But if I'm not wired that way, if I'm never going to do anything remotely associated with this, what are you doing? Like, how are you damaging me? How are you placing limitations on me? Am I a failure because I don't go to college? Am I a failure because I don't get a degree? I don't think anyone has overtly told me that, but I do think that the schooling system, and I don't know what it's like over here, but it's kind of like, you don't have the grades to go to uni. Yeah, but maybe I don't want to. Or maybe I want to go and do something completely different in modern studies or chemistry or physics or geography or higher PE or higher French or whatever it might be. That's not going to take me there. The system's broken. I think everybody can accept that.
Agreed.
It's this archaic system, and every time they try to iterate and overhaul, they still overlook the kids and what they're good at. Everybody focuses on what they're not good at. It's like, you need to get better grades here, you need to study harder, you need to focus more, you need to do it. Well, yes, but has anybody taken a minute to think that maybe this isn't the right subject for me? Probably not. So not a great student. In fact, I actually met with my kind of head of guidance for my year right before I left high school and said, you've failed me and you've failed kids just like me. The thousands of them that have come before and the thousands that will come afterwards, because you spend a lot of energy and focus on the kids that perform, because then your pass rates are going to go up. And you spend a lot of time with the kids who are really, really bad because they make so much noise and there's so much calamity associated with them. They command your attention. And the kids in the middle are left to they'll sink or swim on their own. That sucks. And I was 17 when I had that conversation. I'm like, I'm never going to see this lady again. I might as well tell her how I'm feeling. Maggie Ross, if you ever see this, that's you I'm talking about. You're great. I never had a problem with her, but it's more of a sharing moment to be like, hey, kids don't say this to you. Here's what I think. My parents were both educators, so it's not like this was an abstract concept. And what really hopped out to me, going off on a tangent, what really stood out is both my parents ended up in special education, so they would work with the kids who got expelled. The kids that had real behavioural problems. And what they did is they said, okay, you're from a broken home or an underprivileged area, or one of 7 things that it could be wrong. What are the life skills that you need? You need social integration. So we're going to make sure that multiple times a week we put you in a public environment or a public space where you have to learn how to behave. The bad language in public's not really appropriate, like jumping around and hassling people is not really appropriate. I mean, these stuff that we would take for granted, that you're like, yeah, that's called being a normal human being. If you're not taught that, you don't understand where normal is. They then took them to trade schools once or twice a week, and so they would teach them cooking or bricklaying or carpentry. You know, they actually provided them with skills so that when they were done, they could go and work. You know, and I didn't understand when I was younger, but like, you go swimming with these kids, you go ice skating, like, I want to go to that school. You go skiing, that's what? These are the bad kids and they're being rewarded. But actually what happened is, inadvertently, this school system, or the school that my parents worked at, because they actually worked together. They came from different places and ended up working together. Man, it was like stereo in my house. But they gave kids like skills that would actually help them. The kids became more than the grades that they got. You know, they were not an A student or a B student or a C student, or they weren't put in those categories. It was addressed that you're going to leave, you're going to finish this process, and I don't want you to go to jail, and I don't want you to, you know, do whatever it is these kids do. So here's some tools and here's some skills that will actually help you. So I think that's, seeing that like firsthand has stuck with me and has probably given me a bit more disdain for education than most. So, and there's an irony, because I actually tried to become a Portuguese professor. Change it from the inside, right?